Welcome to the Orpheus training series. This is Matt Navarre. Today's lesson is going to be about medical contacts. So taking a look at this case of hepatitis in Orpheus right now, if we wanted to add a medical contact, we just click this plus provider button in the top right corner. This would give us a list of all the providers, and basically that's going to be doctors, hospitals, laboratories, and other facilities in Orpheus. We can just scroll through the list by using the scroll bar. If we hover over any of these names, like here's Amy Hansen, it gives us information that we can't fit on this list here, such as the phone number and the address, things like that. So to add any one of these records, I would just click on it. So if I click on Adventist here, that adds that particular facility directly to the case. If I wanted to do a search, I can click on the same button here, and I can do a search, and I'll do for Jones. And I'm looking for Dan Jones, and here he is right here, Dan Jones. Now this breaks it into two groups. So the active group here above, and then the inactive ones below. So if I choose Dan Jones here from the top of the list, that adds him. If I do another search for Jones, I can also see some other Joneses here. So maybe there's a totally unrelated Jones, like Kendrick Jones or something like that. Down here, if I add that record, that then activates that record, so the next time I do a search, that one will be there. So I'll do a search again for Jones, and now Kendrick Jones is on the list here. Also, if I don't find the person I'm looking for, so for example, if I'm looking for Jeremy Smithereen, and I don't find him, J-E-R-A-M, Smithereen, and I could not find results, I click this button here to create a new medical contact. And that asks me what I'm looking for. So if I'm making a facility or a hospital, in this case I'm going to make a provider, so I'm going to put in Smithereen, Jeremy. Notice I don't have to capitalize it. I don't know whether he's a doctor. His phone number is 541-555-7890, and he is in Lake County. So I click Create Record, and what this will do is it'll do a search to see if it can find this person already in the medical contact database. If it does, then it will allow me to use them, and if it doesn't, then it will just create a brand new record. In this case, it actually did find something kind of like it, but that's not really the one that I want to do. Okay, so there are three different ways that you can actually search for medical contacts within Orpheus. So one of them we just found by looking at it on the case. Another one is by using the search that you'd normally use to search for cases or people. So if I, for example, search for Dan Jones, who we already saw, we'll see people and ELR records for Dan Jones, but we also see Dan Jones down here as a medical contact. And if we click on that, it takes us right into the medical contact database. By the way, the third way that we can search is if we click on the medical contacts list from the main menu. This takes us into the medical contacts database, and we can show all the records in there. And we have a search button here that allows us to do a power search for certain types of records that match. For example, if we want all the medical contacts in Lake County or something like that, we can easily do that. And so, for example, if we do that, these are all the different ones that are known to be in Lake County, active and inactive. If we do a search here, and we put in a name like Dan Jones, it will show us Dan Jones, active and inactive. And here, if we click on the record, it gives us to this very powerful details screen where we have a lot of information about this medical contact. So for example, phone number, fax number. We have a list. If it's a facility, we can list what providers are associated with that facility. We can see what cases are associated. Some of these cases here we might not be able to see, so it'll just show the ID but nothing else. But if we can actually see the disease and the information about the case, it shows us that. We can also look for duplicate searches and delete records. That's more of a powerful feature, but it works similar to other aspects of deduplicating in Orpheus. Other very important information about this screen is up in the top right corner here. We can see whether this is an active case and whether it's a hospital, a laboratory, or a facility. So let's do a search for another kind of a record here. Let's look for Lake. And the one I'm looking for is Lake District Hospital. So if I click on this, now if I click on providers, I'll see that there's actually a few different providers associated with this hospital. Up in the top right, I can see that it is checked as a hospital, and that it also is active. But that it's not a laboratory, and it's not active for HIV cases, so there's not an HIV specialist there. So that's basically it for how to maintain medical contacts in Orpheus. Thanks very much for your time.